Hello, how's everyone doing? Just thought I'd make a bit of a video. Let's stretch that out a bit there. But just a bit of a live stream, see what's happening, everyone. I haven't made a live for a little while, so thought we'd just jump on and just say hi. What's happening out there? Just wanted to have a cup of tea. Just hang out in the chat for a bit. What are you guys up to? What's happening out there? Yeah, I know. No, this one here. See this logo bouncing around? That's what you get with the free version, guys. Hey, look, man, I'll get the paid version. Just click the join button or sign up at my Substack, and for just the price of a coffee a month, you can support the Phil Rice YouTube channel and get more production level goodies. Upgrade the channel. I think it's about another 10 subs on either Substack or YouTube, whatever. It'll happen if it happens. I'll just keep dropping hints. So yeah, big stuff going on, right? Just checking there. What's going on out there? What's happening? Oh, we got someone in the chat. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for joining. Just hanging out. Haven't been on for a while. Thought I'd better jump in, see what's happening out there. Got any questions or let me know what my audio and video are like. If the shirt's not too loud, it's a bit outside of my usual apparel range. So yeah, please let me know. Comments. Oh, I need to line up a whole bunch of these too, don't I? Yeah, so beautiful day here today, here in Auckland, New Zealand. The sun's out. It's time for a little bit of a wardrobe change. Just something a bit lighter until I can dig out my summer wardrobe, I guess. But yeah, how you guys doing? What's happening? Is everyone doing all right? It's pretty. Where are we? That one. Cool. I'm not sure if people in YouTube, if in Facebook can comment on this. I'm just not sure yet. Let's see. My name's Phil, and I am live. Oh, cool. All right. Looks like it's working. Okay. So I didn't really have a plan for this live stream. I just sort of felt an urge to just jump on and say, hi, what's happening? It's been a little while. I'll just sort of hang out and if anyone's got any questions. Really, I just wanted to make a tea and hang out and say hi to everyone. How you guys doing? Yes. I am, Jackie. I am live. I am live and alive. Thank you. So what I've got here is nobody asked, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. I've got it's a rooibos vanilla and chai. Vanilla and chai? I think it's chai. And no, strawberry and vanilla rooibos with some manuka honey. Sounds a bit flash, doesn't it? Well, kind of is, but it's just kind of what I had. So it's very, very tasty though. Yeah, so like I said, I'm just jumping on. I've made a tea, and just seeing what everyone's up to. You guys practicing? You're having a break from practice. You're having a break from no doubt the constant stream of information coming through regarding a reasonably large, sizable event that happened over the last day or so. Not going to go into it. More interested in the meta personally. You know, how does this? There's changes happening all the time, aren't there? And we can't help but not feel them and notice them in our own lives and in those around us. You can feel it in the collective, right? Especially if you've been doing these, the practices. You know, you can't help but sort of pick up on things that are going on, even if you weren't watching the TV or that. So yeah, it's quite. I'm noticing it today. I don't. For the record, and I've said this before, I'm apolitical. I don't want to get involved in politics, but I have no interest in it personally. But you can't help but kind of be like, well, there's change. There's going to be noticeable effects and sort of societal kinds of adjustments and things, even down here in little old New Zealand. People are quite invested in what happens in things like overseas politics and that. So it's very hard for it not to be mentioned. Oh, I think I'm getting a bit of a tan. I've been outside a little bit. I've got to go do some more outside work. We've got a section of bush down the back of our section here, and it's pretty wild. It's a great place to go and train. Perfect for meditation, standing practices, tai chi, lots of native birds. I was doing some standing practice on a part that's just a little bit further up the hill, and we have this really sort of what would you say? They're quite a wild. They live in these metro areas, but they're really territorial. They're called tuis. I'll pull a picture one up. I'm not wearing my tui t-shirt today. NZ tui, and when they fly, they literally carve up the air. They go. That's the noise. And they fly so fast in and out of tree branches and things. So impressive, right? I'm sitting there doing some standing practice. I'm standing there doing some standing practice. And, here we go. Pull this up. Okay, here we go. New Zealand tui. Let's pull up some images here. There we go. The New Zealand tui. So these are the birds. Oh my gosh, it's sort of all over my face, isn't it? Hang on. What am I doing wrong here? I've left something out here. It's because I haven't set up the dynamic scene. I see. Let me just do this for now. There we go. So, and I can make me even smaller again. That's a bit small, Phil. Far out. Gee whiz, I just can't win with this, can I? Let's just go for that one. And I'll pull up a picture of a tui. So yeah, that's our native tui, and they're real characters. They're just everywhere all the time. They're like these. They're sleek black with green and blue and the white feathers, and they've got this what they call a poi underneath its neck there. And we've had some of these guys with the red, the orange, and they're a slightly different species. But anyway, yes, I'm doing standing practice, and this tui just comes and it comes down the stairs. It just flies around the contours of the buildings and the structures like it's surfing, and it just comes straight past my face. Like I feel the wind. I'm wondering if I even felt its belly wipe my nose. It was so close. It was just like this. and you felt it was. I'm like, man, that was like about an inch away from this thing going beak first through my cheek. I don't think it would. They're pretty quick at like changing their sort of, their direction, and that they're very quick. Like I said, they chase each other in like doing this incredible dance, like this. They chase each other through the bracken and the thicket and all that sort of thing. It's quite impressive to watch. But yeah, so that's kind of what's been happening at this end of the stick. But yeah, definitely noticing apart from all the stuff coming through on the YouTube, the X, and all the other feeds, I don't know. I just kind of feel it in the vibe around, like I can feel some people have, you can feel the collective relief on one side, and you can feel the tension on the other. It's just like a switcheroo. But yeah, I don't know. Like I don't, I sort of stopped listening to the news, like taking it seriously a while ago, but kind of just tune in now, sort of see how people are responding. That seems to be a much more reliable sort of barometer for what's going on in the world. But yeah, what about you guys? What's going on? Oh, I did have some memes actually. I should bust out some memes. Let's see here. I'm gonna just pull up some more pictures of tuis. Just keep you guys occupied. They're really quite beautiful. They're very majestic type birds. Stunning, really. Yeah. If I'm gonna put all these memes up, this is gonna actually. Oh, there's some good ones in here too. Oh yeah. And there's some ones that I will not share. Oh, the things people send me and the things that come across my feed. Oh my gosh. Has anyone else noticed? Like, I've mentioned this before, as I do. The stuff coming up on the feeds, like on YouTube and Facebook and that. It's, I guess, some stuff that's like some of them are inside jokes for like pop culture references and memes and things, but they're pretty. Some of them they're a bit dark and creepy. Some of them are like, yeah, like, they certainly put the clamps on certain subject material, but on this stuff, no, not so much. Yeah, been enjoying having a little bit of a break from social media actually, because for various reasons, it plays a bit of a part in my life, making content and sharing things and having to learn about algorithms and find out, you kind of figure out how much you want to get involved in this stuff, really. Look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Here's another nice one. Oh, here we go. Have a look at this. Load up. Stunning. They're real, like I said, they're really territorial. We have a bird bath out the back here, and we've actually got two at the moment because I accidentally broke it the other day. It was on its last legs, literally and figuratively in some ways. And one of the tuis will come down and will jump and start having a bath, and the other tui will come. Like this tui's just minding its own business. It's like, oh yeah, sweet, having a splash and a drink and a wash, and then one of these other tuis will come down and just like scare the crap out of this tui. It'll just take off. Oh, it's pretty mean, really. Yeah, let's try this one. There we go. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Hey, that's not bad. That's a nice little mix, isn't it? And yeah, they're pretty funny. They're very much they're dicks to each other. They really are, and that's okay. That's okay. Let's pull that up a bit. So yeah, comment. What do we got? Oh, shout out from Seoul. Greetings, Zane. Thank you for joining us. Hmm. But yeah, anyway, so that's just my short story. Like, this isn't some kind of feature video that I'm showing up with guests and all this planned stuff. I just hit the go live button. So sometimes people will just jump on the stream and have some questions about hermetics or thereabouts. And so, here I am, guys. If you got any questions about your practice or just stuff in general, if you want to talk about the big thing that happened, I'm okay with entertaining that in the sense that we talk about, wider implications from a meta standpoint. Like, obviously, depending on whichever party gets in, that affects basically one. I'm not going to say one half, but one section of society seems to favor one section over another generally. But I mean, like I said, not getting into the nuance of that topic, but just monitoring it and seeing. I guess it's funny trying to talk about it and not talk about it at the same time. The memes have been exquisite. Yeah, I have no doubt. I haven't been on X yet. Uh, like I said, guys, I'm not wearing this because of of an affiliation or anything like that. I'm completely neutral, not interested. But it's just honestly, it's such entertaining theater. Except when at the moment it is and has been. It's when things start happening and we start noticing things ourselves that we start to go, oh, wait a minute, okay, yeah. Because I mean that whole process of winning favor in the public, it's like doesn't it doesn't strike me as being the most authentic and genuine sort of expression. It's just theater. But as far as like whatever happens with whoever and whatever gets in, there's we'll feel it. But also just the way I think too, like anything that's promising towards people who are running small and medium-sized businesses at the moment will welcome any what would you call it, significant news that might contribute to them being able to sort of like get some relief or something like that. Will be most welcome here. We've had it's been pretty rugged here for a bunch of years, obviously stuff. But people are holding on and they're working harder and they're digging deep and they're doing their best. But I'm just sitting on the. I'm not sitting on the sidelines, I guess, but I'm just kind of taking note of what I'm seeing. And I talk to a lot of people who are involved in a lot more day to day type stuff, and let's try and be supportive as I can because some people are much more involved with the establishment. Not necessarily by. It's not because it's just easier, I guess. In a lot of cases, it's hard. Pulling away when you've got lots of things going on. Sorry if I'm sounding a bit cryptic here, but like I said, I don't want to get into specifics because it might sound like I'm taking a side or something like that. Oh, not interested. I should have worn a neutral shirt, shouldn't I? A more neutral looking shirt. That's all right. Us here on the holy anarchists side of life. Man, that's good tea. But yeah, nothing like looking at some nature pics. What else we got here? Oh, I'll show you another one. Here's another cool New Zealand bird. Oh, the beautiful keraru. This is very rarely do we see this bird, but oh my gosh, absolutely stunning. Let's see if I can change this around a bit. That one or that one. I'll get rid of me so you guys can see the keraru. Beautiful. They're what we call a native wood pigeon. And there we go. That's a beautiful shot. Absolutely lovely. They can be pretty serious though too. Like a lot of the animals are quite territorial. Obviously they're natives, and then there's a lot of, I guess, introduced species. But they're amazing. You can tell, like, when they fly past, they sound completely different to any other bird. They've got a big wingspan. They're like a big pigeon, like a really big pigeon. They're quite noble and majestic looking birds, and they've got that thing that they do like pigeons do, where they crook the neck. Be a really big puffy chests, really big, probably about maybe 1 3/4 the size of a normal street pigeon. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. All right, while we're doing a tour, I will show you guys another bird that we have. This is our piwakawaka, or our fantail, and they're only tiny. They'll fit in the palm of your hand. They've got a big tail that sticks out, but they're smaller than a sparrow, but they're really playful and quirky, and they'll just dance around in the air, and their tail feathers will fan out, and they'll do this weird kind of dance, and they're always just joking around. They're like just real, and they're really curious, and they're not very shy too. They'll come right up to you, and they're very cool. They're very fun. Like, if you go down like into the bush and practice, they'll come right up to you. They'll want to know what's going on. Oh yeah, cool. And it's just fun, like training partners, in nature, to have some friends just sort of show up and say hi, and and if you want to practice, they just make for great little friends and companions. I think that I think they're a good barometer, or a good metric for, like, your level of stillness, your current level of stillness. So if you're really able to get into a really peaceful space, you'll probably find that they will start to come a little closer, and there may be more of them. They'll just enjoy hanging out with you. Oh, okay. So Zane's talking about the colors blue and red have changed place in the political spectrum in the US. Even just the fact that they use those two colors. It's the same with, like, the cops putting red and blue on the roof, and red for hot, blue for cold, magnetic and electric. Our two main parties are red and blue. I think that's quite a few countries, though, even, isn't it? Why do they choose those two colors? It's literally polarity, isn't it? Oh, thank you, Jackie. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to bring stuff up without overdoing it. Thank you, Jackie. I really enjoyed that. Conversation with Solretto. I haven't sort of hung out in that, and what I'd say is in probably the broader community for a while. I've been sort of focusing on this Hermetics and Kabbalah sort of Franz Barden, Bach Rasmus community. Sorry, you may not be aware of those things, but and it's quite what you might say. It's very disciplined and quite scholarly, and it's great, because there's a lot of it's very good for sharpening aspects of yourself, but there's a kind of a hanging out with the ladies, like with Solretta on the channel, and all it was just so much fun. It was so much fun, and Sol's great. She's so lovely, and I think that what you may find is that in the near future, we're going to be doing some more stuff. I'm just waiting for Solretta to get back, actually. We're going to catch up and do another one. I'll bring her on here. I think I might have to sort of like drop some of the niche on my channel and start to spread out a little wider. Yeah, I'm not too sure what to do actually with that, because I want to, I don't know. This channel's just going to go the way that that I go. Randy Sanderson, great to see you. Thanks for joining in, bro. How you going, man? What's happening? It's Thursday. You're not too far off from knocking off. Let's see. Can I change that? Randy Sanderson. Hello. 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 Oh, that's a nice one. Let's go with that. What do you guys like that one better? Oh, I don't know. That one's a bit. That's a bit too showy for me. Yeah, cool. I'm still playing around with the software. I've been trying to get a few more people to get into live streaming and that. And oh, here we go. Here's a good picture. Looks kind of mean here. Looks like he's got a bone to pick. Wait for it. I'm coming for you. You stole my worm. Oh, you just got home, Randy. Nice. I guess that's the perks of being the boss. Are you the boss? You're pretty much the boss, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, man, I tell you what, animals are such characters, aren't they? They bring such a joy, when you get out in the bush and you're chilled out and they're just wandering around. And even if one of them poops on you, not that that happens too often. And apparently it's a good luck sign. Oh, man. You know what I really love? I really love beautiful landscape photography of nature and that. I don't know what it is. Like this here. I mean, look at this. Isn't that just? I mean, I'm presuming it's real. It's probably doctored somewhat, but man, like it's images like that you can kind of use to transport yourself somewhat. And I'm just going to pull that down. Here I am. Hello, everyone. Cheers. Yes, I've got my lovely tea here, my rooibos and vanilla and strawberry and manuka honey. Oh, we got given some beautiful manuka honey the other day. Oh my gosh, it was like an early Christmas present from one of the family members, one of their work suppliers. Oh, 3 pots of this honey. I haven't eaten that much honey for ages. I'm a bit honeyed out, though, I have to say. But yeah, so I'm just hanging out, guys. No real sort of like reason for this. I'm just sort of playing with the software, saying hi, jumping on. I haven't been on for a while. There's a few people in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for rocking in. Let's see here. I might just put up a check out philrice.substack.com. Yes, I'm going to do a shameless plug. All right, let's see how this looks. Woohoo! Actually, it looks all right. Is that one better? How do you change that? Huh. I'll have to figure that out. It might be one of these things. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty fun, isn't it? Oh, everyone's buzzing me now. Phil, you're online. You do a shout out? Where are we? Oh, I'm getting a message from one of the bros. Who's on? You know who I'm talking to. Who's on? Who's up for it? Go on then. You up for it? I'll send you a link. You can jump in. Yeah, oh my gosh. So I had the very distinct pleasure of a friend is a book collector of rare books and I'm going to show you guys something that I got to hold the other day. And for some, it'll be a whatever. But where is it? Where did I put it? I don't know if I shared it, actually. I know where I can find it. It's in here. Do. All right, here we go. Let's figure that. Save to downloads. Save to downloads. So a friend of mine collects these. She's a Waldorf homeschool teacher, and oh, thank you, Jackie. That's really lovely, Jackie. I appreciate that. Where are we? I'm just trying to get this looking better. I've got to. That looks better. Let's just roll with that. I'm so pleased, Jackie. Like I said, it was so much fun, and I'm glad because a lot of people got to hear what I had to say on the topic of Hermetics, and that because in so many cases, it's very translatable to so many other systems because it's not so much that it's its separate own system. It's more that it can help provide a framework for people using existing systems to help them make sense of them. And it's just the book that I talk about, which is this one here, which is Initiation into Hermetics. This is really just like the I've got behind me is these old textbooks from the 70s on things like air conditioning and automobiles, and they're very and electronics and electrical engineering. They're not mine; they're family members, but they're these really old, thick, very dense, small font, like hardcore sort of engineer type books. That's kind of what like Initiation into Hermetics is. It's kind of like that. It's like probably one of the densest forms of sort of like a compendium that you'll find out there. And don't get me wrong, like you can certainly complement it and supplement it with other things. I do. I'm quite open about that. Okay, now I was going to show you guys a couple of images, wasn't I? Let's see here. So we got that one. All right, here we go. Okay, pull that one down, pull that one up. Thank you so much for being so patient, everyone. Okay, not that one. Where am I? Where am I putting this? Oh, yes, I know where I need to go. Downloads. There we go. That one and that one. And then open with preview. And then put here. So check this out. So this is a first edition. Exactly, Zane. You nailed it perfectly. I think one thing I really enjoyed about hanging out in the sort of the hardcore hermetics metaphysics sort of groups is the appreciation for sort of like the older materials. Some things haven't translated or aged that well in some ways, but if you can read those older books and make sense of them, that's a good skill to have, because essentially as a modern teacher, one of our jobs is to translate that for those older things. To keep the old stuff alive, we need to keep it relatable and relevant to current generations. So I don't really like that thing down the bottom there. It's a bit too bloody hard to read. What about that one? I don't like that one neither. That one's a bit stacked. Far out. I don't like any of them. It's probably the best one. It's very small, isn't it? I don't know why. I wonder if I can make my own one. I think I'll have a crack at that. Yeah. All right. Anyways, all right. Let's load up these pictures here. So, window. Here we go. So this here is The Way of Initiation by Rudolf Steiner. It was written while he was alive. It has, I do believe it's got his signature in it, but it's a printer's signature. And it's a first edition. And it's in very good condition, which is wonderful. It's not a reader. It's a collector's type of one that you'd keep, and I've said to my friend that, she wants to consider maybe getting some special storage if she wants to hold on to them because, they get quite brittle and subject to sort of environmental influences that can deteriorate the materials. And, but yeah, I'm holding this thing going, wow, I think it's 1908. But yeah, absolutely lovely book. And personally, I have not read a lot of Steiner. I've read plenty of excerpts and I've listened to excerpts. But, from my understanding, he only wrote one or two books, maybe. The rest of them were all transcribed from his lectures. He'd get up and talk. It sounds a little bit like sort of what Manly P. Hall did. And please correct me. Basically show up, microphones on, let's start speaking. Although I don't think Steiner had microphones, perhaps. I don't know if there were any recorded. But although, when did he die? It's possible. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. But, you just show up and start talking. Manly P. Hall was famous. He would just sit there and talk for like 90 minutes. And it was very coherent and just it didn't stop. It was just a constant stream. A modern teacher who reminds me of that is Mark Rasmus. For those of you who haven't discovered Mark Rasmus, I'll just put that up. He has got some of the best videos, I think, on the topic. On the topics, for those of us who are, where are we? How's it going to come up? Mark Rasmus, there he is, the bro. Yep, go and hit him up. Go and have a look for him. I think it's markrasmus.org. But anyway, here's the other thing that came up. But, like I said, part of the job, guys, is that we're into metaphysics, whether you're a tarot reader, a healer, a Qigong instructor, or you're teaching Baden, or you're teaching Reiki, or you're teaching a whole bunch of things, Tai Chi, even martial arts, as the years progress, the language and comprehension styles change somewhat. And so the older texts, which still contain all the special info and the data, they need to be translated. And, one of the modern mediums for resharing information is obviously video, YouTube here, like we're doing. And so, anyway, where's this other thing? I won't hold you up here. Let's see what else. What other goodies have I got? Check this out. Oh, man. This was so cool. Are you ready for this one? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, hang on. No, that one. Check this out. How beautiful is that? Oh, really? Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Zane. My friend will probably really appreciate that. I'll have to ask her. She's like going like full Steiner, man. I love it. She lives up the road and she's homeschooling and, she's all in. And I really enjoy because, I'm an educator. I come from an educational background, being a guitar teacher and music teacher in schools and things. And she's like, it's a whole different way of learning. And we have Waldorf schools here in New Zealand, and it's funny because I've been to one of them. There's a real famous one out in a place called Ellerslie, called Michael Park's School. A friend of mine's the music teacher there. The architecture is like there's no 90-degree angles, and it's really interesting. And they have these various classes that are quite interesting. But the Waldorf approach it's approved by the Ministry of Education here in New Zealand. As I'm sure it is around the world, and it's got a very different style of learning. And if you guys have been on my TikTok, I think it's Phil Rice Internal Arts. I made a short video there where my friend is drawing on a chalkboard, and we're sort of talking about how in Steiner, before the kids start, I think before they start reading, they learn to write. I think that's it. But when they learn the letters, they don't learn them by repetition and learn them by rote. What they do is that they like, for example, like I think we did one the other day with J for juggler. So the letter is like they turn the letter into the shape of the word that starts with that letter. So there's these kinds of other angles going on, and then there's a story and then there's an imaginative journey. It's actually a beautiful learning process. If any of you out there are doing, are looking at homeschooling, you want to pull your kids out, and understandably for whatever reason, and you're looking at curriculums, you can go for the general state curriculum, but I think there's a missed opportunity because you're still learning the same thing. There are other learning methodologies, I think, that are far superior to, not just the body of content that comes with the state information system, but also the style and how it is taught. And I've been out of this. I wasn't an actual school teacher; I was a music teacher, but I have friends who've come out of education, and there's lots of different ways of doing the same thing, and some things are far more effective and nourish certain aspects of a young, fresh mind that hasn't been shaped so much. So there's opportunities for learning and developing capacities, because what I'll say. How will I say this? If you're watching this channel, then you, or maybe someone probably you, because you're a practicer or you're interested in the subject material of things like, the paranormal, magic, ESP, spiritual stuff, you've had an experience or two, maybe, that's sort of prompted you to start looking. And you may have also found that in your travels that there's certain types of learning and ways of learning that nudge and nourish those latent capabilities. And then there's certain types of ways of doing things that we may take for granted, that we put ourselves through every day, that essentially dilute and squish those things. There's things that support and things that hinder and cover up and block us. And that can include even the type of meditation we're doing. And, when I remember after I finished teaching at schools, I went round afterwards once I discovered meditation. So I went around to see all my friends because I was friends with a lot of the principals. And I have to say, largely, it wasn't a hugely supportive reception, to be honest, as far as meditation went. Some were. I got really put off by it. The one school I thought would have been really open to it were not. The principal was keen, but her senior staff weren't, and the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Mental Health came in, the Ministry of this, the Ministry of that, they came in and they did a meditation course to the school where they put them through 8 weeks of this thing. And then the school was like, they didn't like the way it was done. It was almost like it was done on purpose to make it unappealing and unhelpful and just like, it's not worth it. The problem is that word meditation gets tarred with that brush. So, yeah, that's a bit stink. Anyway, so, yeah, that's the beautiful cross that my friend, she received with that book, the Steiner book here. So that book there came with the cross. And apparently the lady that sold her the book, has got a whole stack of other books too, which is quite interesting. I have to say, I'm actually pretty much just on the lookout for Barden books when they come available, because trying to make sure that we've got copies of them for students when they come our ways. And it's not that I'm hoarding them for for an apocalypse or anything, but I kind of am. Yeah, Zane nailed it. It's tough to compete with the big pharma. Yeah, it's actually a very appropriate way of putting it. But yeah, I think as far as when we find things that are important to us, we discover what's important to us, and it may not be until much later in life that we really find what's really important to us. And I think it changes throughout life. But you get to a point where it's like, wow, like I've come across this really wonderful thing, and it needs some guardianship of some sort. Like I can see the value in this. I can see how easy things just disappear, just like a digital camera full of family memories can just be deleted, and all of those memories are just gone. And it's a real thing. Uh, because we're getting very, very used to digital media, and for better or for worse. And yeah, we will end up discovering essentially what happens when we don't sort of take a bit of responsibility for that stuff. All right, I'll be back in 3 minutes, guys. I'm just going to go and grab another tea. That one. All right, let me know if you can hear me okay. How's everyone doing? Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for jumping in. Let's pull that one down. I'm going to put up one of these. Welcome, everyone. So much fun. This is really cool, eh? Just make a live stream and hang out and people show up. And this is fun. It's how it's supposed to be, right? Good to just hang out share some stories. Nothing really. I'm not really saying much, you know. But yeah, you guys got any questions? Oh, we've got a whole bunch of comments in here. What do we got? I know Ajahn Brahm was able to Ultraclaves Hermetium. I know Ajahn Brahm was able to bring meditation to some prisons. Yeah, I think some people have just been more successful than others. I mean, you know, where I am, we're still in this little town here. There's still, you know, it was an English colony essentially, and so you know, there's some very old churches here. I often sometimes wonder if I'd have more luck as a healer if I became like a Christian mystic or something, but I probably wouldn't get accepted by that. That's still a bit too far out of things. Yeah, I think that, you know, efforts, you know, you find, I don't know. Yeah, I have, yeah. Um, Man, it's just going to keep being wild. Yeah, it's good to treasure Barden. I think so too. You know, um, the book, like, I've been searching for years, and I've heard some of the best teachers I've heard say that not much comes close as far as a sort of complete and succinct system in one book. If we're just talking about the first book, and so you know, there are plenty of digital copies out there that have been updated, which is actually really good. There's some really good quality PDFs out there that have had corrections and things made. Some are certainly better than others, but you know, as far as having hard copies go, yeah, you want to get yourself. I've got my reader copy, which is my all-in-one copy, you know, and I've got PDF copy as well. I'd like to get a hard copy. I've got a beautiful copy of the second book that a friend gave me, and it's too nice to read. Like, it's the purple book. I think it's a Rutgerberg one, and you know, the dust jacket's mint, the covers mint, purple gold gilded, and all the pages. It's like brand new, you know, near enough. And so the local library's got a copy of PME, which matches the Mercer ones that I've got in hardcover. So I just keep getting it out because I don't think anyone else gets it out. So maybe they'll just go, "Hey, do you want it?" At some point. I'd love to be able to get a copy of that. But yeah, just keep if you can find them, guys. You know, I'm not saying hoard them all. You know, we want to make sure they're available, but just look out for those ones. I've been looking for them on our local sort of trade websites and things. Omran, hi Phil. I'm going to work now, but nice to hear from you and your take on stuff. Well, thank you so much, Omran. I'm grateful. Thank you for joining us. Please have a good day at work, and may many blessings fall at your feet, sir. Thank you so much. Oh, I presume you're a sir. I'm sorry. Hopefully, I didn't get that wrong. Oh yes, that's nice. Yeah, collecting the Barden box. I think so too. I just think that, you know, sometimes there's opportune people out there that can see a good thing and then they'll have lots of resources and go and just steal them all. But I think the people who are practices, you know, it's like moldavite. There's a crystal called moldavite that has been pretty much snaffled up by anyone that knows about it, and the price of it's just off the charts at the moment. I think it's one of the most expensive sorts of. It used to be it was kind of expensive, but now it's really expensive because someone went and bought it all. Now it's just hard to get. That's what happens. I've heard that Barden was in correspondence with Shivananda. Do you know of any other yogic connections he had? Well, this is coming up a little bit at the moment because Bob Smith from 60 Skills actually just dropped a video on this the other day. I'll bring it up. Where are we? Oh, I think it's that one there. One. I'll bring up this video because this is something I think that in modern day, it's really important that we recognize that universality is a thing. There are universal sorts of things. There are things that traditions share. How many traditions impress upon the importance of things like concentration and mindfulness and body training and refinement, And so, where's Bob's video? Here we go. So Bob made a video recently. Actually, I'll have to do it this way. Okay. All right, let's bring this up. So I'll drop that one away. And I'll share this one here, the tab, 60 Skills of Meditation. Share. All right, so here's the 60 Skills YouTube channel. And I should be able to see my mouse come over here. Is it coming over? No, it's not. Oh, that's a bit stink. Let's go like this. Okay, I'll drop Zane's question out of the way. And this one here, where is it from? Key to the True Kabbalah. And so basically Bob talks about what are the origins of Key to the True Kabbalah, which is Barden's third book. And this is, it's basically pointing out that Barden got it from somewhere else. Or he was inspired, or he came across the information from someone else he was in touch with. Now, if I think about this logically, let's just pull that down. The story goes, and I'm not a super Barden nerd, just to be clear. Okay. As the methodology, that's another story about the actual story in his life and all of the mystery and what really happened and this and that. Pardon me. There are some wonderful speakers that can talk about that. The Ron Clarks, the Christoph Maybachs, obviously Martin Falks, one of our sort of leading sort of historians. And so the story goes is that he was a walk-in, or he was suddenly endowed with these capacities. And that story kind of aligns with the story with the Reiki, the founder of the Yasui system of Reiki. Remembering that, people were doing hands-on healings prior to that system being developed. That's a whole other story. But essentially, he went up to the mountain and he told his Buddhist priest, he says, "Hey man, look, I've been trying to get this universal mind experience, or connection with the divine, or having some spiritual experiences here, and I'm struggling to get that." And the priest's like, I'm paraphrasing. He's like, "Okay, well, what about this one? This is basically a practice that'll get you to a near-death experience." And so they put him up. He went up to the mountain, sat under the waterfall for 21 days, didn't eat, and then 21st day he had a universal mind experience, which is the great story of Mikao Sui having his experience up the top of Mount Kurama. And then he came down, and people were really wowed about it. But he found that the other part of the story is that I'm getting away from it. But anyway, basically he had to reverse engineer. Because he, sending people up the mountain to have that experience, he had an enlightenment experience and he had something to share, but he had to learn how to teach the thing. I had that same experience as a musician, becoming a music teacher. I already knew how to do this stuff, but teaching other people how to do the thing is a whole different game. And I've heard this come up in the Tai Chi circles as well. People are very capable with their Tai Chi, but their top students can't recreate what their teachers can do, because the teacher can do it, but he doesn't know how to pass it along. And so I kind of think that part of Barden's path was to figure out how to reverse engineer his skill sets. He probably obviously had a lot of help from entities, and he had a teacher as well. There's a picture of his teacher that he used to go and visit. And so I think he was very informed. The teacher he was visiting was quite a mysterious person. There is a video of Martin Falks talking about a letter that was sent to Aleister Crowley from Franz Barden. So, yeah, as far as his influences go, if you read the books, he talks about other people. He'll talk about Koenig, and who else does he bring up? I think he brings up the Theosophists as well. But I mean, that was at a point of history where there was a lot of magic going on, a lot of practices and things like that. And, but as far as the universality of things goes, I think that's what we should all be looking for, is the underlying shared principles. Getting caught up in the identities of teachers and gurus and, that more like that, the story behind it, there is definitely value in that. But the bottom line is that, it's like the difference between doing something and talking about it. Once you start the practices, there's a self-evidence that becomes self-evident. you know and it's like, wow, okay, yeah, this fella had it. Sometimes you can't really appreciate how good something is until and why people are raving about it until you experience it for yourself, right? And I think that's the thing with Barden's work is, and I've said this before, I've got a book on wizards here somewhere. Where is it? Is it here? I've got this big book on wizards, and it's a really good book, man. It's a really good book. Like, it's got all the usual suspects and a whole bunch of others I never heard of, and it's beautifully laid out and all this sort of stuff. Mate, not a word of Barden. He's like the best kept secret. He's for those who are really looking. I think Golden Dawn stuff, man. I love reading all that stuff, and I love reading the Zohar and all these ancient texts, and those can certainly evoke experiences in that too. It's actually beautiful to even think about it, isn't it? That we get to do this kind of stuff. That we live in a time where we can access it, and we can just basically go to town. It's an absolute feast. It's really lovely because obviously in Barden's time, things weren't so free. But I bought the 3 Merca blue hardbacks. Oh wow, awesome! $40 US each. Oh man. Yeah, this is perfectly well put. I'm going to change that so that other people can read that. I have found that universality, which is like, this is principle based. This is universal laws. This is not culture bound. I have found that universality lets you connect with what is common to all. Well put. Conversely, has the inverse inverse polarity. Sometimes the medium is the message, and methods become culturally bound. Yeah, so it's when you take something and dress it up to be almost like culturally palatable or digestible, because you might be in a time, like what's a good example? In a lot of cases, these people obviously didn't have the internet. They weren't speaking to a global audience. They were speaking to people who were around them. So they had to clothe the teaching and the language and what they were doing in something that people could relate to and that they wouldn't have immediate pushback to as well. Because if it comes from another culture, they may have it sort of hardwired into not do that. And man, I'm not having any luck with these banners here. so that's actually really well put. This is one of the issues we come across, is that yes, seeking the truth sometimes means we have to put aside things that we might be clinging to, and systems that deal with universal principles focus on that, like Hermetics. For me, it makes sense to me to follow this track because I'm not using some kind of culture-based system that may involve deity and accoutrements. This is about as bare bones spiritual mechanics, spiritual engineering as you get. You just, you're literally like starting with what you got, and then you're just learning to expand and extend the scope of what it currently picks up and what it can now pick up. You're widening the field of awareness and also dialing in deeper resolutions so that you're discovering more data. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, people who know, and this is a real thing, man. Like when you find something that's like, oh, I found the thing here. Come on, where's a good one? That's a better one. That's a better one. Let's see if I can. I think if I do this, it didn't really make a difference, did it? Yeah, it looks all right. I'll just have to roll with it, I guess. So, nope, we don't want that one, do we? Solo it. That's it. Cool. Yeah, but so anyway, where I'm going with this is that when it comes to wanting to make progress, being satisfied that the time and resources and effort that you're putting into something is going to have some kind of return on investment, essentially. Because many of us have been looking for a while and we found some stuff, but maybe it's like it's fleeting, or it's in my personal experience, and I've shared this before, so I'm happy to share it again. And that is, I've had initial successes, beginner's luck, first timers luck, as a kind of like, oh, you're interested? Well, here you go. This is what you can aim towards. It was kind of like a try before you buy. Okay, now what you need to do is you need to go and learn about it and research it and develop it within yourself, because we know that entities and that can help us to have experiences, but largely it's kind of from the Barden side of things anyways, that you can generate these things by yourself, and you can do collaboratives with entities later on, but there's a certain set of things you want to get under your skill belt first, the feathers in your cap, so to speak, before you sort of wander off into that. Okay, let's try solo. Oh, well, let me do that. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, look, there's so many ways to get up the top of the mountain, and I think depending on what your general sort of composure is, or your leanings, or your proclivities and inclinations, and that you can find a style of practice that's very amenable and agreeable to you, and you can take the book, if you're a Christian, or if you're a Buddhist, or if you're this or that, you can take Barden's book. It's very friendly towards whatever system. If you read it objectively, if you're really wanting to, if you've found the system that you like, it's a existing religious, maybe exoteric system, and you're looking to deepen your relationship with that system, that deity that represents that system, or the deities that represent it, you can use Barden's system to do that. Oh my gosh, absolutely. And you can see how it maps out. If you lay the Barden framework out, you can see how, like I've done it with Reiki, and various other healing systems. It was more the way that Mark Rasmus explained it to me, though. But I was able to make sense of these other systems, probably 98%. There's a couple of things in a couple of systems that I'm like, it's mind-based stuff. And I'm still working on that. But yeah, most of the things that I've read, because I've read a stack of books on like Western sort of energy healing methods and that. And I've got to say, at some point you're like, okay, well, I've tried a bunch of them and they all seem to reap certain types of results. What do they have in common? And some of the things that I've noticed are, pardon me, there's a conditioning of the astral body. or there's an overlooking of it, and it's more of a body awareness. Another system had it was more like an Akashic kind of idea. You hear that word quantum thrown around quite a bit, and I really feel that's just it's a throwaway word. I don't know if it means anything now. It's sort of like been sort of hijacked, pardon me, by so many people now. It could mean any number of things. But if you go back to the sort of the original understandings of it, in a science context, we're talking about the realms of the very, 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 very small, and being able to see how that sort of translates to maybe some older texts, how they're talking about similar things using different language. That's why we have, and I think a great place to start, if you're ever wanting to introduce this kind of conversation to anyone, is, go with that whole conversation about, chi, ki, prana, orgone, and whatever other names you can come up with for it, ode, mana, and they're not identical. Some of them are more transliterated than translated, I think, and but they do carry a similar kind of theme around this idea of there's an energy, and energy can have a personality, and it can be the volume of it can be increased and decreased, and it can feel full and empty, and it can be loaded with this intention, or it can be used for this purpose, these types of things. But you know generally speaking, as hermeticists, we're all interested in like finding the lowest common denominator and how everything sort of builds up from there, or like the lowest, what you might call the base of it. So I talk about, say, vital energy being like a bowl of rice. A bowl of rice is somewhat nutritious of its own, just by its own virtue that it's got some protein and some carbs and that in it, da 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 da, and a bowl of organic rice with a bit of salt and that, probably quite nice, yum. It's not really going to give you everything you need, but it's going to, it can see you through, but you can flavor that rice and add things to it. And I kind of feel like vital energy is similar. Like there's an amount of nutrition that you'll get from vital energy, but it's when you learn how to pack it and condense it. And, that's when you can start sort of like packing nutrition, if you will, condensing nutrition. And, finding, like I said, modern language to relay understanding to others is very, very useful skill set, especially if you're trying to bring this stuff down to the street. I was in a cafe the other day, and a chap comes up and asks me, he says, "Oh, I hear you do Reiki." And I said, "Yeah, yeah." He says, "Oh, can you tell me about it?" I'd just been talking to someone about Hermetics, and so I was in that mind state where I'm talking about real mechanical, metaphysical type things using a different language set. I hadn't slipped out of that. I was still in that zone. So I started talking to this guy, and he's asking me about Reiki, which she's like, "What is that?" And I said, and as an understanding, it's a Japanese type of system of some type. And I started talking about the vital force phenomena and about, the information field and how we can essentially recalibrate ourselves. And I started talking like this, and this guy's looking at me going, I don't know, he wasn't an engineer type, but I knew he could understand certain things because I know the guy a little bit. But I realized that wasn't the best way to relay it. And I sort of had to slap myself a bit and just go, okay, it's not like I don't need to, it's not dumbing it down. It's just using a better language for the situation. It's like, moving between audiences, or, teaching young kids versus older kids or anything like that. You just got to play it as it lays, and you got to kind of suss the territory out, I guess. Hey, it's Buddy Boulder. Hey, man. Finally caught alive. All right. Caught a break, caught alive. Basically, the difficulty with spiritism is the disintegration of the medium. Yeah, so over time, you spend too much time soaking in the other thing, the other intelligence or whatever. There's gonna be some residual. There's always going to be some kind of wear and tear because there are spiritual aspects of yourself, or maybe we're probably correct because like there's the immortal spirit that goes on, and then there's the astral and the vital physical side of things, which can take some it can take some wear and tear. And I know that there are some spiritual sicknesses as well. But yeah, as far as being a medium goes, there's Mark Rasmus talks about this really, really well because he's done it for a long time, and he gives some really good guidelines for it because there's a lot of mediums out there, and yeah, a lot of people get burnt out too because they don't know good practices. All right, I'm going to change this thing again, see if I can get a better one. Phil, where do you think Barden got the colors and sounds of the letters from? Well, my understanding is that they are pre-existent universal forces, and these we can form a sympathetic resonant bond with them using our three bodies. Basically, each one of our bodies, our mental, physical, and astral body, are like each one of them's got a grabber, right? And it's like you can't pick up a basketball with one hand necessarily. You need two hands. It's the same kind of concept. The energy's there, but you can't grab it with one hand. You grab it with a mental hand, you grab it with an astral hand, you grab it with a vital hand. And and the sound is what brings it through. The utterance is what sort of like it's the pipe or the common thread that helps to lead it through the other bodies. But yeah, I mean, look, the colors that he has mentioned in the book, my personal experiences is that those are just very basic kinds of ways of you can visualize the it's funny because when I first had my visual experience of the water element come through, it was very different to the color I was actually thinking of. Right, I was going for a quite a like an emeraldy kind of greeny blue, but it ended up being a lot more bluer than green. Um, it was, yeah, and that might change depending on your location, but these things pre-exist in nature, and we have ways we can approximate the tuning forks within ourselves to resonate sympathetically with them, so we can form a bond, yoke them, and start to grasp them here, and here, and then we start, pulling on them essentially and bringing them into our sphere of awareness. Then we bring them through, and we're doing the single letters, and we're soaking ourselves in them to build up it's like Obelix when he fell in the Asterix and Obelix when he fell in the cauldron as a baby. He's sort of like he's got it hard baked into him. It's not to say that the presence and our ability to recall them cannot decay over time. I'm not thousands of hours into these practices yet, as far as the letters go. So I can't comment on that. Someone like Bob will say, 10 hours will give you good clean access. 20 hours will give you much cleaner access. 100 hours will give you sweet access. 1,000 hours and you'll have it pretty well baked in. But everything requires a little bit of, it's just like, playing guitar. You can get rusty on things, can't you? So yeah, these things, my understanding is they're building blocks of reality, and, the sounds and the colors are our best human approximations of these natural forces. And so, like, the letter G, when I was thinking about grass green, and when I finally got the flash come through, the visual flash, it wasn't what I was thinking of. It included that color, but it actually included several other. It would almost look like a camouflage with light greens, like I was looking into the bush, into the forest. That's what it looked like. But yeah, I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to contaminate. I could be giving you guys expectations. It's better just to work with what he says, and just think about, that. And if you sit there with it, you'll figure it out. I got to say, once again, some of the best materials for, because if you're struggling to read Key to the True Kabbalah, because it does have some stuff that doesn't quite make sense, not everyone will get it, depending on your level of development as well. The 60 Schools YouTube channel, Bob's got heaps of free stuff on there, man. You can get started like right now. It's the same with Mark Rasmus. Yeah, the Kabbalah stuff he doesn't really cover on his channel, but Bob at 60 Schools has got a stack of videos on Barden's KTQ, and you can just get started now. Literally just get started now. But all you got to do is you got to remember that these things are profound and significant. Don't underestimate these things, okay? You will be very surprised. And there's a reason why you don't just instantly sort of like, although that can kind of happen too, you need to kind of build yourself up for this, because some of the things you'll experience in the first book, as far as the element work goes, some of that's translates as well. But you got to make sure that you clean, once you're finished, you flush yourself out. You want to make sure that you're always cleaning, starting off with a clean crucible, or a clean cauldron, or a clean forge, or alchemical mixing pot. And go wash your hands. Do the magic wash where you feel it all being pulled off when the water's dropping off. You do that, and then obviously, you need to be balancing them as well. I tell you this right now, and other teachers will talk about this too. When you do not balance the elements or do counterbalancing, you're working on air, you work on the same amount of earth. You work on fire, you work on the same amount of water, and you keep that evenness, and that will, because you'll find out the hard way. Easiest way to put it. You'll find out the hard way, and you'll be like, oh. And it's disruptive, but it's good to know, because sometimes for something to really sink in, the importance of a practice, sometimes you need to get things wrong. Yes, the book, yes, Kabbalah, it is mentioned in Barden's KDQs, the Sefer Yetzirah, and that's absolutely you don't have to read it, but you should. I think it's just going to give you some new, if you haven't read the Sefer Yetzirah and you don't know much about it, it will help to make a lot of other things make sense. And obviously, Barden's Kabbalah is not a Hebrew Kabbalah. It's more of it's like a Germanic Kabbalah. However, we can see the relationship, and Ron Clark has made that up on his, he made a quick reference chart not so long ago, and he compared the letters in that. And I think it's in the Greek alphabet. They've got 27 letters. And and this is a German-based alphabet that, Barden's Kabbalah is based on. Okay. G'day, Will. How are you? Thank you, Will. Always a pleasure, sir. Great to see you. Thanks for joining in. It's funny, I can say that I haven't done thousands of hours, but unless I actually go through and add it all up, which there's been plenty of time spent, doing certain things. I mean, I just think about, even prior to Baden, doing all the meditation work that I've done, all the mindfulness and the vacancy of mind, because I found it in other books. I found these systems of development in other books, and something very valuable about exploring other systems, because you'll start to see through your developing comprehension abilities that even though there may be two exercises that, someone tells you they're the same, but to you they're completely different. What their exercises, their fingers pointing at the moon. That exercise is leading you towards this type of an outcome. Maybe it's being able to concentrate for a longer period of time. Maybe it's, which is going to give you access to subtlety, nuance, and detail, and to maintain it, because you're essentially almost like boring a hole through reality and stretching that open so you can get a good, clean look through, right? There's a book called Supercharged Self-Healing. I'll put this one up. I shall have to put it here. Where are we? Where are we? Supercharged Self-Healing. RJ Spina. Oh. All right. Okay. So any of you who are into healing and Barden, I recommend checking this book out. I think it's like 15 or 16 bucks on Kindle. This chap's he's kind of new on the scene. He's a metaphysics dude. But basically he had this really insane, he had like fused vertebrae and this, what do you have? He had, what the heck's it called? Can't remember. Oh, it was full on anyway. Like he had all of these incredible issues. It wasn't, what's the name of it? It's on the tip of my tongue. I'll have to think about it. But anyway, the doctor, basically the doctors sort of said, you'll never walk again. And, your life's pretty much screwed now. And this guy's like, no, I'm going to walk unaided in 100 days. It's a pretty bold statement. He made that to the doctors and the nurses while he's in the wheelchair. And they're like, yep, okay. There's actually a video of him. It's about a 3-minute video on his YouTube channel. And he shows the documented sort of process of him healing himself from something that, he shouldn't have. And he was able to walk after 100 days in the hospital. And he's got all the, like I said, the documentation's all signed on the video. Take it for whatever it's worth. But when you read this book and then you line it up against what Barden's saying, I'm wondering if he read Barden or if he just read a lot of stuff and figured that out. But he's got what's in that book. It's not just for self-healing. It's essentially manifestation, because you're manifesting a healthy body. But those same practices can be overlaid over any other kind of wish fulfillment, essentially. First, you've got to be able to, clearly identify what you want and then focus on it and, have a good sort of understanding of what it is that you're doing. So, and, when you look at this book and the exercises laid out, I think there's might be 7 exercises. Hang on, I'll pull it up. Where are we? Got it on my Kindle here. Where are we? I'm sure it's in here. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. We'll pull this up. And I'll do this, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do this. And I'll do this. Dun, dun, Supercharged Self-Healing by RJ Spina. And then we'll do that. Oh, I shall flick it around this way, and then we'll do that. There we go. Oh, this that still doesn't look that great. That's okay. That'll do. There we go. That's a better one. Supercharged Self-Healing. Now, so reading a book like this will save you a lot of time if you are wanting to get involved in comparative analysis of healing systems. Because if you've already discovered Barden and you've read a whole bunch of other books that are maybe explained by people with a Western explanation method or something that appeals and makes sense easily to a Western mind, it's well worth the effort. It's not a long book. I think it's about 200 pages, and let's see if I can find the yeah. So there is. Oh, yeah. So here we go. 7 steps. Access your true essence. Know specifically what you are going to achieve. Activate your healing intention. Command creative consciousness. Channeling intelligent energy into the body, turn off the program of illness, Use the power of the spoken word. Very good book. And that's his website, I think, or his channel is called Ascending the Frequencies, which for those of you who are, who've worked with Mark Rasmus's system or checked out Mark Rasmus, you'll hear him talk about the vibrational scale. And, the conversation of, rising through these frequencies and things. And, what does that even mean? So, those things that we've left behind because they're just too yucky and sticky and that. And I've got to say, you keep finding new things. And those are what we might call the low vibe things. There's some stuff we just really struggle to go back to. I've got about 4 of them. Life would be easier if I could just go back and do these things, but it's just like, oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. All right. So on this version of the plan, I can do 2-hour live streams. How interesting. We'll see how we go. If we get a few more people showing, I'll just restart another live stream. But yeah, you really know, and I've still got a couple of things in my life that, letting these things go will just elevate. In fact, you'll get catapulted. I'd even say, guys, those of you who are looking for ways to amplify your growth rate, food is a really good one to look into. Do not take your food for granted. Same with water. And when I say water, I mean if you can get it straight from the spring, awesome. If you're going to get I wouldn't recommend personally drinking municipal or just tap water. Anything you put into your body, any substance, anything, you want to know what it is and know what's going on. You want to read the labels on your food. You want to do this, you want to do that, diddly do. Yes, I kind of sound like I'm a bit teachy, but this is my suggestion as a growth rate amplifier anyway. Bad food and water can block your progress or hinder and hold you back, especially if it's food, even if it's healthy food, but it just messes with your gut. I stopped eating tomatoes and onions, and life is so much better, especially if you're a healer and you got people on the table. Last thing you want is a noisy gut or gas or anything like that. But yeah, you just notice as you get more sensitive, especially if you're doing like Qigong and vital energy type work, Tai Chi, da-da-da-da. You just become really sensitive to things, and that includes food. And some things will just be like, nope. And they may have been things you had no problem enjoying before. It actually reminds me of when I gave up smoking years ago. I think it was the first real time I gave up. I haven't smoked cigarettes for years, but I remember a bunch of us gave up at work, and it made it so much easier. When there's a bunch of people doing it together. I think only one dude out of about 5 of us didn't make it, but we gave up smoking, and then my taste buds changed. Back in those days, I used to enjoy drinking beer, and I couldn't drink that beer anymore. It just started tasting really unpleasant. So I had to change the type of beer I was drinking. And I was drinking from a craft beer pub back in the day. This is before craft beers took off, really. But they brewed their own beer, this pub. And so if Randy's listening, he'll know the one I'm talking about, the Parrot and Jigger. I'm guessing the Parrot and Jigger's still with us. And down to the old train station. But yeah, even the food, there were some things I couldn't eat anymore. I didn't like things like fried mushrooms and blue cheese and all those types of things. And I don't really eat dairy now because I'm pretty much all veggie, vegan kind of thing. But I started being able to be fine with these things, and I was able to appreciate them. It's like once I stopped smoking, it kind of removed the numbness. I was able to perceive more. And so even things, the cigarettes actually numbed my ability to detect the things I would actually normally be repulsed by. But once that numbness had gone, things became a lot clearer, and it's like, oh, I can't go around, I can't touch that anymore. It was actually quite good because I had to, when I switched my diet, I had to start, exploring food again in a different way. I was kind of forced to, but it was an excellent avenue of exploration because I learned a lot. And, if you see those old photos of me, you probably see them on my Facebook profile. Man, I was overweight and pasty, and I was functional, but oh my gosh, Taiji Chuan is based on water, so it's very yin. Some masters like to practice a more fiery style Nei Kuan, such as Jingji Kuan, in order to balance yin and yang. Yeah, I've heard that, Will. I've heard about, who's it? There's one chap that talks about, basically, if you're going to do Taiji Chuan, you can balance that out, bring it, Jingyi and Bagua, and those will round you out very well. I'm still sort of at the beginning of my Tai Chi journey, and there's so much to understand, let alone just do the forms. But we have the best teachers around at the moment. Like Mark Rasmus is just, man, he's so good. He's got so much Tai Chi stuff up there. For me, it's more like I've got to start with the solo stuff and then try and find some people to play with, partners, work and things. So, but that's actually some interesting things are happening in the next little while around that, actually. Watch the space. Maybe it'll be a couple of 3 months away, but one of the cool things about running a channel like this and interviewing the people that I have and connecting with people and teachers and things is that everyone's pretty generous, especially when they're content creators helping out other content creators and teachers helping out other teachers in that. Some cool stuff coming up in the next couple of months for me. Going to get a bit more martial. Different Kabbalistic systems use different colors and sounds. Can they all work? I've thought about this. Now, without even mentioning one specifically, it's like if you put the, so shin, right? Shin in Hebrew, which is looks like, the fire, looks like a W almost with little flames. That's effectively the same as SCH in Barden system. Or is it? Or is there an egregore that surrounds that particular understanding? Is that how they interpreted that fire element? It's the same color as far as I know. I've also heard Mark Rasmus talk about this, and it has been, it has been my experience that what's provided to us through the systems, they don't always end up necessarily being our own individual unique experience. And this is, what I was talking about before. The color that I was provided with out of the book was not the one that I had the experience with. And the experience that I had was very clearly that particular thing. It was more like and if you've got developed, if you've worked, really hard through the first book before you've jumped into the third book, you'll probably find there'll be an ease in which the letters become apparent to you, because you've done a stack of visualization work and you've done a stack of acoustic visualization as well. And obviously the feeling state, the elemental feeling state of the sensation body, these types of things. I don't think those really change, but I remember listening to Mark Rasmus say, because his approach to Kabbalah is to do the books 1, 2, 3. And in the second book, you can connect with a sun spirit called Levim, who's the intelligence who rules over Kabbalah, apparently, or created Kabbalah in this solar system. And you can actually connect directly with him, and you can download these. And apparently, it's very different. He's one of his workshops. I checked out his previews. One of his Kabbalah workshops is he's like, look, once we've done this letter, let's compare notes and see, did everyone see this color? Did everyone see yellow? Did you? Did everyone experience lightness, or did you experience heaviness? And that's quite interesting. So I think there is a level of subjectivity. Whatever colors that experience, whatever colors the lens, hard to say. But yeah, as far as my own experience goes, I did a heap of research into magical kind of Kabbalistic systems, sort of tree of life, Golden Dawn type scenarios, because I just felt a natural pull towards that. I've also done there's an online course called KABU, KABU.com maybe, or it's I think it's Rav Michael Lightman, and people can like him or love him, whatever. But it's there's another guy. His name's Nicholas or Anthony, I think, and he's the guy that runs it. But it's a very good interactive type of uh, learning system. It's all sort of online and multi-choice questions and things to help keep you jogged up about the. But it talks about the Hebraic version, the Judaic sort of system of like the emanations of the Sephiroth and that, and Kabbalah from a very orthodox Jewish point of view, and yes, okay. What are nadis in Tai Chi? Can you give me an LE5 intro to it? Gills. So nadis, in my understanding, is a Hindu or Vedic. It's from the Indus Valley part of the world. Explain like I'm 5. Oh, okay, thank you. So I think one thing that I've come across in my search is that we're all looking for things that line up. We want to know how the 7 planets line up with the 7 chakras. We want to know how the 7 hermetic principles line up with the 7 whatevers, and we want to see how systems are represented in other systems. Where are the meridians in the Vedic system? From Chinese acupuncture and medicine, and I think nadis are somewhat similar to that. Let's just have a quick look here. I just need to refresh my memory. It's like chakras and pressure points. Oh, okay. The 3 fundamental nadis. Yeah, of course. So these are talking basically about the Kundalini pathways, the central channel, the Sushumna and the Ida and Pingala being the. Okay, yeah. So if we're just talking about Kundalini energy, or the rising or energy that pops your crown off so you can access Akasha, in Tai Chi, I haven't seen that that's mentioned. You don't. The closest thing I've found to anything mentioning that would be Wu Ji, which is essentially Akasha, or without ridgepole. And I'm sure that if Will's in the chat, he can jump in. I think he's more savvy with Tai Chi than myself, as far as maybe the deeper scholarly goes. But Tai Chi is a lot. It doesn't use things like meridians. Okay, it's basically talking about emptiness and fullness, and it doesn't. In my understanding, it doesn't, like in say Hermetics, we learn how to partition off section of the bodies and fill them with vital energy and pack and pack and pack and pack and pack. And then we mentally transfer into our organs and pack as well, and then release. So I can't really answer your question directly like that, because I don't believe nadis are mentioned in Tai Chi. And please tell me if I'm wrong. But and I haven't come across even. I mean, there's Ling Kong Jing, which is empty force, which is a mental level and above sort of phenomena. But that doesn't really talk about nadis. If we're talking about Ida and Pingala, and we're talking about the central channel and these types of things, I don't really see that appearing. That might be more in some of the qigong type conversation about. Oh, okay. Are they okay? So here we go. So you've dropped another question up here. So I'm probably wrong, but what are they? Are they simply meridians like what's used in acupuncture? So in Hermetics, we don't just kind of take anything as a given in most cases. So if I can't see a meridian, then I can't verify that it exists. And so the only area that I may have some faith in is in the existence of a supreme being. But as far as meridians go, my clairvoyance when I is usually gets activated when I've got someone on the table when it needs to be, and I've never seen meridians. I've seen things that resemble, I guess, because I've got books on shiatsu and some acupuncture books and things too, and I'm not an acupuncturist at all. I'm a Reiki practicer, essentially, or an energy healer. But as far as meridians go, but one of my teachers, who's pretty well known as far as being clairvoyant, he's like, I've never seen them. Acupressure, yes, those are the pressure points where the needles go in. Meridians, he said he's never seen them. I would, I would be open to sort of, well, like I said, if I've got to be able to see them, and it doesn't mean they don't need to exist for those points to work, as far as I can tell. I mean, maybe there are, like you can, part of the, like for in Hermetics, we learn how to sort of like, mentally create, like we do it in Qigong, we do it with Qi circulation. We build up the circulation patterns within ourselves. They're not necessarily already set there. We build them up in Reiki, we build up a circulation pattern as well. So, I'm not sure about the origin story of things like, just turn that down a bit. My forehead's getting a little shiny. There we go. Oh man, that's bright. But yeah, I can't really comment because I've never seen them. So, I mean, I've heard about them. If I wanted to, then I would train myself to be clairvoyant. I would presume you would be able to pick up on there and, you may be able to pick on some kind of flow of energy through these pathways. But, I've also heard that, different systems have got different types of things, different ways of the energy to move. And, in Hermetics, we don't have that. What we do is that we have basically an empty shell, which we start to form a relationship with through mental processes of creating energetic pockets that then help to create bridges between the different layers of reality. So I'm sorry, Gills 666. I'm sorry. I'm not I'm like I said, I'm not a Tai Chi specialist. I'm not an acupuncture specialist, and I'm not a Vedic specialist either. I can speak to them to some extent, but as far as the existence of them goes, I can't verify them. And my teacher, who I hold in quite high regard after many years of looking, has emphatically stated he's never seen them, and he's got claims to have top tier clairvoyance, or has a pretty well developed sense of clairvoyance. So I don't know. Like I said, I'd be more comfortable talking about it if I was able to identify it myself. So, all right. 10 years of Tai Chi and you may see meridians. Oh, okay. Well, that's a new one. All right. I'll take your word for it, Will. I know that people who do Qigong long enough, once they're, especially up here, once they've spent enough time soaking their eyes in vital force, that they'll start to see energy moving in and around the body. And there's a lot of Qigongs out there that will do energy movement and trainment and things like that. But as far as the meridians pre-existing goes, I just can't comment on it. And I've heard, if you do something long enough, things will start showing up. Like that's the same with Reiki. Like you can just do a Reiki week workshop. But, if you go out and start practicing it, then you'll start learning on the spot. So, in the old days when you'd go to the dojo twice or three times a week to do your Qigong or your Kiko, and your time chanting and sitting with the teacher who was able to basically transmit equanimity and, skill sets and things like that. Those days aren't, really what we have nowadays. Reiki's sort of come down to this sort of weekend workshop situation, but people still develop as long as they're practicing regularly, in some form or another. If you've got another person, you've got contrast. And that's why trees are great. Trees offer a lot of contrast for energy awareness and development, because a lot of it is based on awareness. You've got to be able to sense something greater than yourself or something smaller than yourself, and then be able to sort of feel the difference and then move between those things, and then find ways to apply your will to it and embody that differential. Okay, well, guys, this stream's going to end in about 9 minutes because I'm on the free plan. Haven't been able to talk enough of you guys into getting a subscription either here on YouTube or on the Substack. Better on Substack, guys. YouTube takes forever to do stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't get as many toys to play with on this free version. And you get that awesome little logo up the top right there. Okay. Well, I have to say, it's been lovely chatting to everybody. Well, I don't know if you're going to find a lot of stuff at the beginning of this video when you rewatch it. So, I don't know. You'll see stuff pop up, but I'm just talking until people started showing up. But, yeah, now I've actually got a whole bunch of people in the chat now. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining in. I trust you guys have had a lovely, lovely week and are continuing to do so. You've had a lovely Guy Fawkes and Halloween, and my gosh, and it's been a pretty serious election thing. Like I said, apolitical, not going to comment. More interested in the meta. Thank you, Will. I appreciate you. I know, bro, I know you get real value out of these vids. So, it's and I really appreciate your feedback. You leave really good feedback and comments too. And I'm very grateful, brother. Thank you. So, yeah. How long did it take before you saw a letter's true color in a flash? Oh, okay. Yep. So I don't know if it was the letter's true color. It may have been. It was certainly something that was presented to me. And there's been, these experiences are quite personal, and some things I'll share and some things I won't. But what I'll say is that part of the process is getting good at what you might call legitimate multitasking, which is you're able to maintain a visual, a color, a sensation, and a sound all at the same time. A color, a feeling sensation, and a sound at the same time. Right? Now, when you do that, you get good at doing those things individually, and then you get good at doing them, together. It's kind of like, when I taught the kids guitar, you teach them how to hold the chord with their left hand, then you teach them how to strum with their right hand, and you'd make this job easier and give, if you're doing something technical with this hand, make this job easy strumming, more difficult over here. Then if we wanted to focus on the strumming hand, we'd give this hand a really easy job. Just hold down one chord, don't practice changing, and then we'll start working on more difficult things here. So what happens is that, in the book, I need to go and do some Tai Chi. That's what I need to do. In this wonderful book here, it takes you through a set of exercises to develop your visual, your felt, your sensation body, and also your air pole, or your ability to create tones and sounds at various levels of reality. But it's just to answer your question, Buddy Boulder, some people are going to find it easier to visualize the color yellow or green than other people for whatever reason. Some people might be able to do blue, piece of cake. Letter D, man, I got that straight out the gate. That was awesome. I'm just saying. or maybe it was like for them, it was like, oh man, you know what, man, the mother letters were hard, but some of those other ones weren't so much. Okay, but getting good at all the little bits and pieces, being able to visualize the 27 different colors, although I think it's more like 22 different because there's a few of them that are very similar. Then maybe 24, and then the four, is it five? There's earth, air, fire, and water, and akasha, and then there's earth akasha, and then there's an earth fire, and then there's the letter C, which is a floating kind of heat. Yeah, I think those are the main ones. I actually listed them out before, but just the mental level experience, which is what you're really talking about here. The visual, which is great in and of itself, even before. Okay. When you visualize it, you're getting mental level effects. And so there's still great value in that. But you focus on developing these one aspects of yourself at a time. And, even before you get to the section, I think it's part 7 of the book, it'll take you through a series of steps of building up these 3 levels of concentration you need to develop, which you actually do a lot in the first book, actually. I have KDQ, but just curious how the system is set up. I would say when it comes to KDQ, you just follow the book best you can. Check out guys like Mark Rasmus. Probably more Bob Smith in this case from 60 Skills. 60 Skills has got all the videos there. He's got course previews, and in the course previews he does fire, air, and earth. He doesn't do one on water, but you can figure it out. You can see what he's doing on there. He basically gives it all away, like his training process, and I'm sure it's probably developed a couple of times since then. Pardon me, but you just keep chipping away at it, and you're slowly luring these experiences towards you by your commitment to the process, and then you will have these flashes of success, and you'll be like, "Wow!" And that will lead you on. That's your nudge of encouragement, you might call, and they're quite profound. They really are. When you have the flash, if you get the flash, if that even happens for you, I don't know. I haven't really heard anyone else say it like that. But, when I had the flash of the visual experience, it was, you know what? The way the energy appears was quite different for each one. I'll just say that. And and there's a kind of a novelty to it, because these letters have in the book, there's a letter and then akasha, mental, astral, physical, right? That's the list. It makes them look like, oh yeah, there's the letter and the thing, right? Letter and the thing, and then it tells you about the letter and that. They have their own kind of uniqueness about how they appear, and that was for me anyway. But like I said, I don't want to contaminate your potential experience, but I think that if you're on this track, then you're going to get encouragements along the way, and they will be encouragements that cater to your preference of the type of encouragements that spur you forward. And so, I just keep playing with it, but when it comes, like I said, as long as you're aware of the importance of counterbalancing, like evenly practicing the 4 elements, half an hour of fire, half an hour of air, half hour of fire, half water, half air, half earth, etc. And you spread that out so it's manageable, because you can leave it over a couple of days. If you do air one day, and you don't do earth that day, you can do earth the next day. The following day, sometimes you'll feel the effects the next day, and there's a bit of a lag in the effect sometimes, just depending on what your level of sort of availability of the goodies are, of the energy. As you get a cleaner connection with it, the effects start to become a lot more immediate and apparent, and that's quite interesting, because you realize how important it is that you're able to focus and concentrate. You don't want a wandering mind once you start. It's very hard to do that. All right. Anyway, the broadcast is about to end, guys. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and we'll talk again very soon. Stay well.